wanted an update on the saga.
Yes, so the computer saga finally concluded yesterday at 11 a.m. So nothing like a Friday sliding into home, and as many of you can imagine.
So you're getting all caught up?
I'm as caught up as humanly possible. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, work in progress.
It's a work in progress, just in time to travel next week.
So what did you do with all that extra time other than, obsess and fret and?
Yeah, that's my best version. Worked on some plot twist stuff, spoiled the dogs, wondered how long, because every day they would literally be like, okay, it'll be there tomorrow by 12.
Yeah.
So then, I'm like loafing the house until 12.
Well,
then sending.
I was just going to say, it's hard to probably really dive into something knowing that, you might have to stop it halfway through to get to the real work, right?
So I wasn't like as productive if I had taken a vacation and been like, all right, I'm free and I'm going to just enjoy this. It literally was hurry up and wait and then obsess about how much more is getting slathered on because it's another day. But, I'm grateful. Universe doesn't make mistakes. So maybe I needed a minute to like reset and rest that I wouldn't have done if I didn't have that. So we're going with that thought.
And now you have a big week coming up.
I do. I'm about to get on a plane. So yay. And then I get to see my coworkers. For next week, we're going to Jacksonville, Florida. And we haven't been in person for 2 years. And I get to meet some bosses I've never met. So that'll be fun.
And you're a little anxious about that?
I was going to say, pray for me that my pants fit.
And of course, the nature of what we do here at Walk and Roll Live, I have to ask you about that. I know that some of your anxiety comes from working there for the last couple of years, and these people don't have any idea about your disability. So there's, and I think we all can relate to that. There's a little anxiety about all of a sudden, how are they going to react to that?
How does the competency change when they cannot synthesize your look with your production? Like that, as a human, they're like, oh wait, what? Yeah. So I'm bracing for impact. The anxiety in me probably feeds it up to much more than it's going to be.
I was going to say.
However,
yeah, it's
let
still
the fun
there.
Begin.
And then,
for sure.
Just making sure the people that don't know, Addie works from home and has, even pre-COVID, been doing it for
2009.
Yeah, quite a while now. So, so that's why she hadn't seen her bosses in 2 years.
Right.
She's not ducking into a cubicle every time they walk down the hall.
Right. Oh, geez. Yeah, no. And our company went through a merger. So these are new bosses that came on with the merger. Our bosses basically got swapped out from the former company into these new people. And I mean, some of them, we've done video chats, but if I'm sitting at a desk, you don't know what I'm sitting in, right? The assumption will be desk chair until I roll up in there and I'm like, hey, yo. And then they're like, whoa.
Well, you wonder too, and I guess we'll never know the answer. And maybe there is no conversation, but you wonder if somebody's going, I have to choose my word carefully here, but there's not a conversation that warns them, but I wonder if there's been a conversation about that and whether they were kind of advised of what's going on.
I am curious. I mean, I think they first gathered it when I said, hey, when you rent the car, it has to be big enough for a wheelchair, plus all of us, plus the thing. But you know what I mean? Like that in theory and that with a person attached to it is different, right? Whose wheelchair is it? In that conversation, you're not tying it to me. And then when I show up and it's me, you're like, oh, well. I mean, of course, all my girls that already know me and we've been together are like, the drink cart is coming.
That's awesome. And then for me, if I was in this situation, I would, I guess in a perfect world, I would think there was no conversation. Doesn't need to be a conversation. And when they meet you, and they won't give it a second thought,
Yeah.
And I think that's a possibility.
In a perfect world.
Yeah.
That's all right. I'm brace for option 2 and hope for option 1. Let's say it that way.
Yeah. And I think that even if it's, a surprise, let's say, at first, I think that will pass very quickly. I just think it's with anybody,
Yeah.
So.
Once my personality comes out and it's the same person that they knew, I'm just sitting lower than they thought I did, then I then I hope it'll.
Well, see, I experienced that a lot in radio because I was on the radio. Nobody saw me, but then from time to time they would see you like a live broadcast or something, and you could see it on their face, and I don't think it wasn't just the disability. It was a lot of things. You hear somebody on the radio and you immediately come up with a picture. And if you've listened to them for any amount of time, you kind of form this picture forms over time, right? And then when you meet somebody, it's like, nope, they're not tall and blonde and whatever, they're this, that.
Yeah. Well, and think about it even with us. Like partly how I knew it was you from years ago was your voice. I was like, no, that is my Doug because his voice is the same, because many, many years had passed.
There was a big difference in hairstyle.
Well, that's the truth. But dude, I have gray hair now. And when you knew me, I was just a little thing. So.
And I have none.
How was your week?
It was good. Had coffee with the dog handler guys that I have coffee with from time to time. And it's so fun. And I mentioned this before with the stories and all that. Well, it kind of dawned on me as I was sitting there listening to them all. And we're sharing different stories back and forth. But it's like this ongoing episode of MASH.
Yeah.
Because they're talking about very, similar things. They're talking about, how they acquired quote unquote things, in the Army, and how they went about it. And, they were telling a story about this one outfit needed plywood. And I guess plywood was like gold, where they were.
Yeah.
And so they were at a, bar and everybody's, they don't have all their, like if they're brass, they don't have all that stuff on. They're kind of dressed down, at the bar.
Yeah.
And they find out that this guy's in supply. Well, they meet him and they chat him up and, hey, can I buy you a drink? And, pretty soon, can I buy you another drink? Can I buy it?
Yeah.
And then
can I have lots of plywood?
Yeah. And then they say, I got to be over here, but God, I don't have a vehicle. And the guy they've been buying, here, take my truck. And they hand him the keys. They take the truck, go to the place, load it up with the plywood, take it, bring the truck back, come back. Hey, can you want another drink? This whole thing, and they have no idea that they got the plywood.
God.
So it's just things
Little
like that.
Bad boys.
Yes.
No, but those. I feel like that is kind of like I have a lot of military friends, and I feel like that kind of is the camaraderie and the shtick of the thing, right? Like they all know it's going to happen. Somebody is going to have that story. It's just how is it acquired, or some version of that story.
Yes, and it's in there. I've spent dinners and coffees with them, and story after story, and it's not the same stories over and over and over again. Oh. Every time there's some new ones and new angles, so it's always a good time.
That's really fun.
We honor our mothers at the Veterans Village this week. We had special clothes for mothers that were, for them only. Usually we have a table with clothes on. We're like telling the men, not about you this week. Move on. So
keeping on.
Yes, had a raffle for them with some prizes, and everybody got something. We had little bags with some nice things for the moms. So happy Mother's Day. I want to thank you thank you to Alexis Maison for coming on and sharing her story. Another really kind of unique story. I think that was the first
Amazing.
time. Yeah. We've had somebody fall 5 stories, survive, and in that recovery, which it's very early still, really.
Yeah. But I mean, the strides she's made, you would think it was longer along. It's the serious nod to human resilience, right? And the power of positive thinking. So
we'll keep you up to date on her progress too. Looking forward to seeing what else comes up. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. I don't know if I've mentioned it too much, but I did start a TikTok.
People, we're on TikTok.
I don't even know what to call it anymore. I want to say channel, but I'm sure that's not it. That's
TikTok
my old guy coming out.
Or something.
Yeah. So that's up. So, if you go and follow us, it's going well. I'm getting
that's awesome.
A lot of people following that I don't know. Some of my other platforms mostly are friends that I've had all along for years. So it's interesting to see a lot of new people and all that. So, come and join the community.